Former President George W. Bush has had what appears to be a Freudian slip when talking about the war in Ukraine. Let's listen.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq. Anyway, 75.
Well, at least he can make a joke about it, I guess.
It is funny. It's some dark humor, though. I mean, it's funny. There's no way around it, but
he shouldn't even be talking on this. Why is he speaking about the war in Ukraine and invasions? I mean, he's like the guy that should be this is the time to go take a bath and paint some paintings.
And he knows it. He knows it.
But he's an expert on justified invasions of other people's countries.
Yeah, there could not be a clearer distillation of everything that is wrong with American hypocrisy and the posture that the establishment has taken toward the war in Ukraine than that Freudian slip. I mean, you could write thesis after thesis on the layers of irony there. And the fact that, he afterward he kind of chuckles and he says, like, oh, it's because I'm old, but also seems to acknowledge in the chuckle that it's true, like he accidentally told the truth. There's like a weird contrition, we're like, yeah, well, you got me, guys. It was me. Sames. It's a Spider-Man meme with Russia and the United States pointing at each other and saying invasion, imperialism.
But what's interesting about this is how many, we're laughing at his gaffe. Everyone in the room laughed at his gaffe rather than actually kind of gasping. That probably would have been a better response, or at least a more appropriate response, is for people to go, yeah, that. And then maybe have a little bit of self-awareness and some self-reflection and to say, the United States pointing fingers at Russia, going after Russia with sanctions and all these other things for their invasion. What if the world would have done had the same reaction towards the United States when we invaded Iraq? Mm-hmm. That would have been interesting, but that's not what happened. We didn't have the same treatment against us. Russian citizens right now are still, I'm getting married in about 3 weeks. My best friend is Russian. She cannot leave the country. She can't fly here, be in my wedding. My bridesmaid, and she can't be in my wedding because we're putting restrictions on Russian citizens, blaming them for the actions of their government. And now McDonald's is leaving Russia. There's all of this stuff that's going on to harm the Russian people, to harm the Russian citizens. But that's kind of the MO of the United States, with our sanctions and how we go after countries. We don't target the leaders. We don't punish just the governments. We actually punish the citizens as well. But luckily, the world didn't do that to us. So we don't even know. We didn't even get an opportunity, I guess, to get a dose of our own medicine.